we came back from Australia in 1993, and we really didn't start in earnest till 94.
Jaap's birthday is the beginning of January, and Jan and Ham and their boys, teenagers, I rang them and said it's Jaap's birthday and he wants to go down to the stream and clear blackberry. Will you come round for tea? But you've got to clear blackberry before you have tea. So that was done on the main river. And one of the boys got into the stream and the other two cleared, and that was the beginning of clearing. So.
And that was what year, sorry?
1994.
Right.
January
1994. And then we have never stopped since. This is my pride and joy. A hinau planted in 2014. So it will be 4 years old this winter. It's not even 4 years now. And it is more than 3.5 meters tall. Well, that's unheard of for hinau. But it is on a very good site. But the little stream coming from the spring is just down there, and of course, you know, it's obviously been well planted, and it's very good quality stock, and it's good weed control. All those things have happened, so it had every chance to do it well, and it has done us proud. Here it is. This is a tower, and that is not even 4 years old, and it's 1.8 meters tall. And that is because it has lots of shelter and also lots of light. The same story as with all these trees, really. They need shelter, but they need light. And so that's the result. A tower, quite amazing, really. And just further along here, I'll wave it in the breeze, is a rewa rewa. And that's 2.5 meters tall, and it's not even 4 years old. Quite amazing. These are rimu that were planted in 2010, so they are nearly 8 years old. They've done very well, and the reason I think why they've done so well, they've had lots of protection but also lots of sunshine, and that's the combination to good growth. We've got a black myri here, and I've planted it in a very permanent and prominent position so that it can show off its attributes for the next couple of 100 years or so. But of another interest at this stop is the fact that the tree at the back is stone dead, as it's pretty obvious. That's Pittosporum calenzoi. It's a short-lived tree, and wherever I've planted a lot of them together, I now have the problem of the whole show collapsing without enough of the permanent trees. And I think that's probably a feature that is common in a lot of riparian plantings, where people haven't thought about the long term and have omitted to put in the aristocrats, you know, the really long-lived trees. So I've been part of the guilty of doing that, but this species is no longer on my preferred list. Above the lower totara, you might just be able to see a different green foliage. Now that is a healthy calenzoi, Pittosporum calenzoi. Make sure that you duck before the next branch hits you.
Crazy bushman.
Are the elderly people negotiating those steps all right?
Yeah.
Those old people, yeah, you got to look after the old people. The Kānaka was planted on the same day as the Tōtara.
Oh.
Same day.
And what would you recommend now? Would you intervene and thin?
I think now you would intervene. Yeah.
Certainly, Tōtara is the equivalent of radiata in the native flora. Really, it is a light demanding species. So it's a balancing act, trying to plant it at the same time as your nurse crop of Mānuka and Kānaka and anything else you can get cheaply, but also trying to keep the light well going above each of the Tōtara. This is a very good example of riparian planting, which is actually going to last the distance. A lot of riparian planting is just focusing on the shrub hardwoods, and as I think you've already mentioned, you know, there's potential for that to actually collapse and go back to blackberry if you don't have your next later successional, you know, high forest species in amongst your shrub hardwoods.
Beautiful form. Just because it's had that nurse crop to push it up nice and straight. Don't get
Reduce its branch figure, really.
Yeah, well, you look at those edge trees up along the fence lines, you just see the heavy branching on the one side, and just one tree in. It only takes one tree to be the buffer tree, and you've suddenly got a beautiful crop inside.
Okay.
This is a barberry shoot, and it's probably only, you know, 3 months old, but that's part of the vegetation here. Mostly barberry, with the odd coprosma maybe in between, or the odd fuchsia, but that's about all. That's a glorious combination, because what it allows to happen is the blackberry overgrows this, so that's a wonderful combination, you can imagine, and then the convolvulus goes over the whole lot. So that's the sort of vegetation that you start off with when you have to clear this, and chainsaw work and lots of smoke, I'm afraid. Just point out the value of root structures. These 3 species, the lemonwood, this one, and lowland ribbonwood, this one, Plagianthus, and cabbage trees, they have complementary functioning roots, really. I noticed one day here after a flood, we'd had lemonwood's roots exposed, and it was in a perfect cartwheel. The horizontal roots had just hung in, and as you might be able to see this, it's got a horrible butt sweep, but it shows you how tenacious this tree is in hanging together and not blowing over when the flood comes. No, it is really hanging in there. And this tree here, this is the lowland ribbonwood, has very deep foraging vertical roots. So you can imagine the two combined, the one with a cartwheel that goes horizontally and the other one that goes down, straight down. And of course the cabbage tree, you all probably know that it's got this huge carrot with roots coming from all directions. You can imagine that combination of those root structures is great for holding moving banks together.
This was the first dump, and the farmer had used to just come to the top there and tip everything over, paint tins,
Even waste oil.
yeah. And then we had just a narrow track. It was when we first started clearing, and we used to take it all the way, and Jaap had got a mini skip and was parked in our paddock, so we had to carry everything from here to the mini skip. But then we got to the 201 tip on the other side of the river.
Well, that was another story again as far as dumps are concerned. This was as Sue said, was only a mini skip full, maybe, cubic metre or a bit more. But the other one was over a large area, and the whole thing's overgrown over the top of all the rubbish with blackberry. So the four of us spent about 4 days to clear all the blackberry off the top of all the rubbish so that at least you could get at it. And then I asked the regional council to come to our rescue, which they did. And they came with a 24-ton crane, mobile crane, that they parked up the hill. And they also brought in a 15-ton digger. It dug an enormous hole in the paddock above, and anything that could not be recycled went into that.
There were truck bodies and washing machines and cars. And
yeah, there were car bodies and workshops, the whole...
lawnmowers,
the whole bit. So, but we recycled about 3 ton, we think, of steel, and by the end of the day, we had it all cleaned up. 12 people, high-vis jackets, helmets, all looking the part. And then at the end of the day, Nick Johns, who was our soil conservator at the time, he put the fence back up again, sowed the grass, and it was as if nothing had ever happened at the end of the day. Brilliant.
It was brilliant, yeah.
He was really good. Yeah. That was the regional council. Bay Plenty Regional Council.
And that was in 2001?
2001, yeah.
Yeah.
An amazing effort.
It was great.
Yeah, it was good.